Let's
Go ahead and call the meeting to order. This is the September 25th regular meeting of the Bardstown City Council. I'd ask if there's anyone in the audience that would like to address the council this evening.
I would. Most of you all know that we do our televised debates, which are coming up soon. Most of you all, I think, have already replied, but we've sent out emails to everybody, hoping to get a confirmation, just to be sure we know you guys are coming and what time, what day, what place. So, I'll encourage you all to check your emails and get back to me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Nothing else, then we'll move on to the agenda, other parts of the agenda. The first thing is a request for water and sewer services for Phase 11 of the neighborhood subdivision. Looks like it's going to serve 8 lots off of Laurel Drive. Yet to be named street with 8 lots. Jessica says that their Horizons Engineering's plans and everything meet the specifications of the city. So we need a motion then to accept Phase 11, a request for to be served by city water and sewer.
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Butwin. Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilman Jones. Any discussion? All in favor then signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. All right, next item 4 is the HRB recommendations, and I don't know if we have anybody that needs to be excused or...
Yes, Mayor, Councilman Button needs to recuse on it. Let's go ahead and do the ones where he can vote. We'll do those first and do the other ones second, if that's okay.
Sure.
And I'll read those. These are the agenda recommendations from Tuesday, September 18th meeting of the Historic Review Board. COA 18-145, John Ballard, applicant owner, request to install a fence at 210 East Flagey Avenue. Recommendation approval to install proposed fence. COA 18-141, Kelsey Hamilton, applicant owner, request to add landscaping and to add trees at 218 East Stephen Foster Avenue. Recommendation approval to install the proposed landscaping with the following conditions. Conditions: the installation of the arborvitae trees would be staff approved. COA 18-142, Kelsey Hamilton, applicant owner, request to remove a patio and replace it at 218 East Stephen Foster Avenue. Recommendation approval to replace the proposed patio with the approved material. COA 18-143, Kelsey Hamilton, applicant owner, request to install a fence and gates at 218 East Stephen Foster Avenue. Recommendation approval to install the proposed fence and gates with the following conditions. Conditions that the gate hardware will be staff approved. COA 18-144, Kelsey Hamilton, applicant owner, request to repair a side porch at 218 East Stephen Foster Avenue. Recommendation approval to repair the side porch with proposed materials. COA 18-133, Don Mudd, applicant owner, request to add shutters at 303 North 3rd Street. Recommendation approval to add the proposed shutters with the approved locations. COA 18-132, Don Mudd, applicant owner, request to change the colors of the building at 303 North 3rd Street. Recommendation approval of the paint colors proposed. COA 18-134, Don Mudd, applicant owner, request to add awnings at 303 North 3rd Street. Recommendation approval to install the awnings with the following conditions. Conditions: the design, canvas material, and mounting hardware would be approved by the preservation coordinator. COA 18-135, Don Mudd, applicant owner, request to add exterior lights at 303 North 3rd Street. Recommendation approval to install the proposed lights. COA 18-136, Don Mudd, applicant owner, request to replace the gutters at 303 North 3rd Street. Recommendation approval to install the proposed gutters. COA 18-137, Don Mudd, applicant owner, request to add planter boxes at 303 North 3rd Street. Recommendation approval to install the proposed planter boxes. COA 18-138, Don Mudd, applicant owner, request to replace the roof at 303 North 3rd Street. Recommendation of approval to replace the proposed roof. To replace Well, okay. COA 18-139, Don Mudd, applicant owner, requests to add headers to windows at 303 North 3rd Street. Recommendation approval to add the proposed headers. Then we jump to, that's it. That's the last of the COAs that don't have a recusal.
Okay, that would be, okay, we need a recommendation to approve the COAs, paragraph A through, it's like M, is that correct?
M.
And that recommendations were just read by City Attorney Tim Butler. I need a motion for approval.
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Williams, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Copeland. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's carried. Councilman Butler, are you recusing?
Kick the rain.
You need an umbrella? Okay.
Okay, COA 18-125, Joe and Caitlin Ballard, applicant owners, request to add window boxes at 204 East Stephen Foster Avenue. Recommendation approval to install the proposed window boxes. COA 18-126, Joe and Caitlin Ballard, applicant owners, request to remove and replace the windows at 203 East Stephen Foster Avenue. Recommendation approval to replace the proposed windows with the following conditions. Conditions: the window placement design is consistent with the window standards because the windows in question are not visible from the street, particularly on the lower level. The window replacement design for the upper level puts windows where they are supposed to be and is consistent on the eastern and western side, and the windows on the lower side are not visible from the street. The proposed door on the western side will be staff approved. COA 18-127, Joe and Caitlin Ballard, applicant owners, request to replace the light fixture at 204 East Stephen Foster Avenue. Recommendation approval to replace the proposed light fixture. COA 18-128, Joe and Caitlin Ballard, applicant owners, request to remove the shutter doors and replace them with larger operable shutters. Recommendation approval to install the proposed shutter doors. COA 18-129, Joe and Caitlin Ballard, applicant owners, request to add a screened-in porch at the rear of 204 East Stephen Foster Avenue. Recommendation approval to install the proposed porch with the following conditions. Conditions: the applicant must receive approval from planning and zoning for any variances that are needed before the porch can be built. The door will be staff approved. The roofing material for the screen porch will be staff approved, and the attic door will be the sliding to match the house. COA 18-131, Joe and Caitlin Ballard, applicant owners, request to change the paint colors at 204 East Stephen Foster Avenue. Recommendation approval for the proposed paint colors with the following condition. Condition: the final color will be presented to the preservation coordinator for the record. COA 18-140, Joe and Caitlin Ballard, applicant owners, request to remove and replace a tree at 204 East Stephen Foster Avenue. Recommendation approval for the landscaping proposed with the following conditions. The applicant will plant either a redbud tree or a white dogwood tree in the backyard.
Okay, we need a motion then to approve COAs, paragraph B through U.
Well, that should be
Just one.
N-O-P-Q-R-T and U.
We got one.
Mayor, I'll make the motion to approve the HRB recommendations for COA 18-125, 126, 127, 128, 129, 131, and 140 with the stated conditions in full effect.
Thank you. We have a motion from Councilman Gomes. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Shekels. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
Come back out.
Okay, the next item on our agenda we've got a request from the Chamber of Commerce. Each year they do a light up Bardstown celebration, which we announced started the Christmas season at the courthouse, and in previous years the city has donated $1,000 for that effort. Last year we did it with $500 coming out of the council's contingency and the mayor's, so $500. So I ask if you all would like to continue that as we've done in years past.
Yes.
I'm for it.
I don't have any problem with it.
Okay. You're okay with 500 coming out of the council and 500 out of the mayor's contingency?
Yeah, I don't think we spent anything out of council's contingency so far.
I think that's about right.
Leave plenty for the next group next year.
Okay, will someone put that in the form of a motion then?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Copeland, we have a second.
Second.
Second by Councilman Jones. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. We have some minutes from the special meeting and public hearing for denial of COA 18-68 from September 11th. Also, the minutes of the special meeting and the public hearing 2018-2019 proposed tax rate, and the minutes from the regular council meeting on 9/11/2018. If there's any additions or corrections, if not, we can approve by unanimous consent. Okay. All right. We're going to have a first reading on classification and compensation plan. This is related to the addition of a school resource officer for the city schools. So before we get into it, I just asked Chief Cressy if she give us a little background. That's what we're asking for, that this is just to increase the number of regular officers from 17 to 18.
So this would take our department from an authorized streams overall from, we would be authorized from 27 to 28 authorized overall. The memorandum of understanding that I think you all have on your iPad, this was a collaborative effort between the school system and the police department. It was reviewed by Attorney Tim Butler, which basically pretty much spells out the agreement between both the school board and the police department, down to the number of days that the officer would be on school property. The officer would be a sworn Bardstown police officer, but would be operating during the school days, school hours on Bardstown in the school system. I think this is a great opportunity. The officer would be sworn in uniform, and they play a different role other than just a law enforcement officer. The officer also acts as an advisor, as a counselor, will be able to be in the classroom and to also be an emergency responder. So having that presence in 2018, having that relationship with the kids in the school gives a lot of positive interaction between law enforcement and the school system and the students. So I think this is a great move in the right direction between the police department and the school system.
I have a couple of questions.
Yes, ma'am.
So this officer hasn't been hired yet, right?
So the way that we would moving forward, you would want to take somebody that has experience. So you would never want to put a brand new officer in a position like this. You would want somebody that has experience. So we would fill this SRO position from somebody that is already on the Bardstown Police Department. You would want somebody with a minimum of 3 years experience that would take that position. So the school resource officer would be filled from within the Bardstown Police Department, and then we would hire and backfill that position onto the agency. Because as we would post the position, to get a new hire into the agency could take up to a year by the time they get hired and trained, going through schooling, and then actually getting onto the street. Could take up to a year before they're actually on the street and ready to go.
Okay, I think it's a wonderful idea. So with the person that you're going to hire, are you having difficulties
We have not. We are actually going to, I'm working with the HR director and we're working on a posting. We're going to post that and advertise. And so we're working on that today and getting a posting together where we can advertise here locally, hopefully in the Courier Journal and to many different outlets. And hopefully, I think with our new pay scale system, the benefits that's offered here in the city, I think we will attract quite a few interested individuals that would be interested in coming and working here in the city of Bardstown. And so we definitely want to get the word out that we are hiring because we actually are going to have a couple spots that are available. And one of the things that we talked about is increasing diversity on the Bardstown Police Department. So I think now with this added position and the current vacancy that we do currently have, this gives us an opportunity to really work to fulfill that goal that we had. And so we're going to really look to advertise and to work on that.
Go ahead.
And this might be covered under the memorandum.
And we're going to get to that shortly. We just need to, this is the first reading, we just need to have it introduced.
And someone would need to introduce it.
And I'll have a signed number after we introduce it in the first reading.
If I may be in order, I'd like to introduce ordinance 2018 and ordinance amending and adopting its amended ordinance style and ordinance creating a classification plan and compensation plan, and have our city attorney to read it.
Yes, sir. Ordinance B 2018, an ordinance amending and adopting is amended, an ordinance styled, an ordinance creating classification plan and compensation plan. This ordinance amends B 2018-17 and Chapter 35 Employment Policies, the classification and compensation plan of the municipal code by amending the number of authorized positions, their title and pay grade, and setting the range for pay grades for city employees for fiscal year 2018-19 and subsequent years. The amendments and additions reflecting the number of positions, title, and pay grade respectively are: Police Department, number of positions, strike 17, add 18 for the title Police Officer, grade 109. This ordinance and parts of ordinances in conflict herewith are repealed to the extent of such conflict. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect following publication and summary as required by law.
Thank you, Tim. This is the first reading. So we'll have a second reading at the next meeting. And then we'll move on then to reports from staff and committees. The first one, we've got the minutes of the safety committee. Does anyone have any comments on that meeting or the minutes? The next one is the memorandum of agreement with the Bardstown Police Department and the Bardstown City Schools. I will say that very quickly after Ryan Clark was made superintendent of the schools, I think within the first week that he was on the job as the new superintendent, he approached myself and Chief Cressinger with the idea of a school resource officer. So I know that that was a major priority with him in his new administration at the school system. So we're happy that the school has stepped up financially and also in partnership with us with this and can help make this work. And from a budget standpoint, our part of it is within our budget the way it looks right now, even though the position wasn't authorized originally, but with the school taking on most of the expense and overhead related to that position, we can make that work, and then it does give us some flexibility, particularly in the days and months when school is not in session. We'll have another officer we can have to help us when we're short someone or we have someone on vacation or whatever. So it's a win-win for both of us. So we're happy that Bardstown City School, the school board, was able to make this work and this proposal like it has been. So. But I will say, if you've read the memorandum of agreement, it's extensive and there was a lot of work put into that. So if anyone got any questions, I'll let Tim Butler answer all of them. Joe, did you have one?
So the city schools are paying part of this, is that correct? And
Yes, sir.
your budget's picking up the balance. So if I missed it, I'm sorry, but I don't, how much are they paying toward this? The 50, that's their number, the 57? Okay,
Yes.
okay. Good enough.
Any other questions about the memorandum of understanding? It doesn't have to be formalized by the council, but what we want you all to read it and have it so you understood what we've agreed to, what they've agreed to, what the responsibilities of the officer will be.
So that breaks down 60/40 or 70/30 pay breakdown.
It's probably around 70/30.
They're picking up 70%, we're picking up the.
Depending on the,
Approximately.
right, it'll depend on the officer that has an interest for it and how many years they've been on, and what their salary is currently. You know, we've got officers with 4 years on, and we've got officers with 10 years on. I don't think Chief has put that out, to any of the officers yet who have an interest in it, but I think it'll break down to more like 70/30.
And this memorandum is pretty much boilerplate. It's the same standard one you would use for a different school, or is it strictly designed for the needs of Bardstown Independent Schools?
I'm unaware of that. I think Bardstown Independent Schools had they had a lot of input into what went into the memorandum, and Tim was the one that read it over it. It's probably boilerplate that would be standard with all schools.
A little bit of both. I mean, it's probably starts as boiler, but makes, it's adapted to the particular situation.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Tim and Chief, Greg, for y'all's help in that. Okay, next item is the request from Foster Heights Elementary for their 5K run and proposed route. It's proposed for Saturday, October the 27th. Anybody got any questions? It's of course going to start more at their school and primarily be in the Edgewood area of town and John Fitch area, so it won't be out on the 3rd Street and main parts of town, doesn't look like.
This is pretty much the same route that most of these groups have been using in.
Yeah, I know at least one of the group have already used that route here recently, a few weeks ago. Has that route caused any problems that you know of? Then
Mostly back in the neighborhoods.
Yeah.
It doesn't cross any state roads or anything.
seems like a good route to me.
Have they reached out to you at all? So you've had no discussions with them? Okay, I'll facilitate that.
Okay.
Maybe the motion could be.
Yeah, we can have a motion then to approve the request of Foster Heights for their 5K run walk on October 27th with consultation and approval with the Bardstown PD.
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Kelly.
Second.
By Councilman Williams. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. All right, any members of the council have anything to bring up this evening or comments?
Mayor, we were going to have a recreation meeting Thursday, but we're going to have to postpone that because they already have a meeting scheduled at Thomas Nelson High School regarding that bypass. And so we don't want to be conflicting with that, so we'll reschedule, and when I get that information, I'll share it with you.
That meeting is at 7 o'clock.
5.
It's at 5.
It's at 5, it's at the same time. At least what I've seen.
Thomas Nelson's at 5?
5
Seven.
5 to 7.
It's 527.
5 till 7.
Yeah.
All right.
There's a special call meeting of the cemetery committee on Thursday morning at 11 o'clock.
Okay.
For anyone who would like to raise the dead there.
Thursday at what time?
The mayor's conference room.
Okay, we don't have any cemetery deeds. As far as announcements, the only thing I would comment on, I know we had a power outage this morning that lasted about 2 hours, and We didn't get a lot of real detail from KU, but it was a major outage from Kentucky Utilities, who's our supplier, which took out our Barton substation and they still refer to it as the old public pool substation sometimes, but I call it the Boone substation now, Boone's Butcher Shop. But then our substation on Withrow stayed up. Anyway, it turned out the outage was located in, I think, originated in LaRue County. And Jeff Miller told me that after some work on their end, that they isolated it to a breaker in LaRue County or Hodgesville area. Once they got that breaker back up and going, then the whole system, our system all came up basically simultaneously. So we didn't have to, we were getting prepared to start using the Withrow Court substation and starting the backfeed and all that, which is a major effort to do. But by the time we were getting ready to do that, the system came back up. So it caused some problems, but it was something that's, out of our control due to KU. So anyway.
May I make an announcement, please?
Sure.
The Kentucky Coalition Against Domestic Violence will be having a luncheon on October the 12th at Mount Kentucky Home State Park, the Great Hall. And Don G. from Wave TV3 will be here to MC. So it's the Purple Purse campaign, so I'll be bringing the Purple Purse in again and asking all of the great men here to take a picture with it so that they can be in a nice video. So I hope that we have a great attendance, being that Dawn is going to be here. What a phenomenal woman she is and a great testimony that she has. So I hope that we will be in attendance if we can. Thank you.
Date again, Councilwoman?
It's October the 12th at noon.
It's country club.
Excuse me?
It's country club.
I can't hear you.
The Great Hall, I
The
think.
Great Hall, yeah.
You're going to be sending out any further emails or anything, just to kind of...
We sent out some invitations via email. I thought all the council and mayor got one, but we can resend them again.
I don't think that...
You didn't get it?
I got it.
Okay, we'll resend it.
And this is
I
today.
think I got one by mail.
You did.
Okay.
Now she got a nice iPad there.
I'm sorry?
Now she got a nice iPad there.
It's the same one. You got locked into this case, so can't find a key. I'll find it. I can see.
Okay, and I think our city attorney, Tim Butler, has an announcement he wants to make this evening.
Yes, I do, Mayor. Thank you. I've talked to the mayor Friday, and I wanted to let you all know that as of the end of this year, I will be retiring. Retiring, as the mayor asked me, is he retiring? And yes, I'm going to retire. I hope to transition by December 1st because I'm incorporated. Anybody who knows anything about corporations know that you have a lot of tax filings that are due, and I don't want to have anything that carries over into the new year. So I'll be here for the next couple of months. And I do appreciate I will say this, I hope the mayor doesn't mind, but when I told the mayor Friday, his reaction was, "Oh crap." That was a quote, and that's much better than "it's about time." So I appreciate that, and I will be here and on duty for the next 2 months. I just want to let you all know, and I've appreciated the opportunity.
You don't look for guys?
As it turns out, yes.
I think it's little brother following big brother.
A little bit. I had to make some decisions because Big Brother's retiring also. So, but thank you all.
We'll have more to say on that in
Yes.
December.
Much more.
Yes.
Okay, anything else to bring before the council this evening?
In the Rotary Club having their annual Kids Day thing this week too, John?
What's that?
In the Rotary Club having their annual Kids Day thing?
Yeah, we got that on Thursday. You're right, yeah, I should announce that Thursday here out the city lawn here at, starting somewhere after 3 o'clock after school.
I
Well, it's free ice cream, bouncy houses. Usually the Boy Scouts have a little walkway thing.
It's ice cream.
Face
free
painting.
for the adults too.
Mayor, if you come over, we'll get you one.
My kids are a little older, I thought they would show up.
We'll get them one too.
Okay, if there's nothing else, I'll ask for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Council Reader,
Second.
second Council Copeland. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.